My name is Meschke. I'm President of CBiz Human Capital Services. What I want to talk about today is board recruitment and the evolution of board recruitment over the last 10 to 15 years. It's really interesting in what's evolved, and it really started occurring back before the 1990s. At that time, board recruitment was really a good old boy system. And that is, it was very familiar. A lot of people that served on public company boards were generally friends of each other. But that started to change back in the late 1990s when the dotcom era came upon us. And when that occurred, what transpired was that the board started to diversify, whether it be racial, ethnic, gender diversity, but was really starting to really look a little bit differently than it had before in the good old boy system. In 2002, 2003, Sarbanes-Oxley came into existence. When that occurred, every public company board had to have a financial expert on their board of directors. And so what occurred at that juncture was that every board went out to find those individuals who generally were former Big Four accounting professionals, retired, or retired CFOs of publicly held companies. And that's what occurred and continued to occur for the last decade or so. But now today, board evolution is changing, and it's changing so much that what's transpired is that boards are starting to look at things differently, because it's really getting away from the good old boy system. It's getting away from the retired CPAs, the retired CFOs, and really becoming more homogeneous again, which is really kind of an interesting scenario. And a couple things have impacted that. One is that every board is starting to look at board governance a little bit more succinctly. And when they look at board governance, what that means is they're looking at the distribution of the people on the board, the talents, the skills, the credentials that they bring to the table. And so it's really more of looking at this as a distribution rather than it was just to fill a seat. There's also a lot of other things occurring at this point in time too, and that is this. Many boards now have restrictions on the number of boards, outside boards, that their board members can actually serve on. And so that's really changed the evolution of boards too. Another thing that has occurred is there are now many companies have mandatory retirement ages, which again didn't occur before. So really what's transpiring is that someone who goes onto a public company board, who used to be on there almost for life, may be on that board for 3 to 5 to 7 years, and then they may roll off and go into onto other boards. So it's really an interesting scenario. It's really evolving and will continue to evolve. One thing I can tell people that review the video here is that if you plan to serve on the board, credentials are king. And when I say that, you can't just go on the board because you want to. There's got to be a reason for that board to select you. And what that would mean is that whether it's an industry specialty, whether it's a functional specialty, whether you've served on other public company boards or even private company boards, people want you to have some sort of gravitas when it comes to service on a board and understand the governance related there too. Another thing to just keep note of is that most boards would say that it requires anywhere from 200 to maybe 250 hours per year to devote time to a board seat. And so if you have more than one or more than two, and you're trying to be an operating executive of another company, sometimes time just doesn't allow you to serve. So I think what I want to end this video with is just to say that the evolution of board and board service continues to go on. And I think you'll see a lot more governance items occur that will improve governance across the system and also make it a better system for public shareholders as well. If you have any other questions about board service and the like, EFL Associates and CBiz Human Capital Services does provide a board services service line. And that group can help you with governance issues, can help you recruit board members, and we can be reached at any point in time. The following slide will have the contact information, numbers, and email addresses if you wish to reach us. Thank you so much.